Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's Mary, and I'm here with today's edition of 90 Day Oy Vey, Love in Paradise. Is this guy, Kyle Gordy, just an all-around good dude that just wants to help women conceive, or is he just creepy? Let's hop right into it. Yesterday, I did a video about Kyle Gordy, serial sperm donor or predator. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out and then watch the rest of this one. So basically, Kyle Gordy, who is currently on Love in Paradise with Annie from Malta, okay, he announced his retirement from sperm donation back in June 2023. And the reason why he announced his retirement was because he was searching for love. I wonder if he was filming Love in Paradise during this time. Okay, then a couple of months later, in September of 2023, Kyle announces, I'm back. The search for love didn't quite pan out for him, so he's back in action, okay? And says 8 women across 4 continents are currently pregnant with his children. This was back in September of 2023 when this article was published, okay? Now, I fell down the Kyle Gordy rabbit hole yesterday, okay? I saw this article about Kyle being detained in Fiji on his way to New Zealand, okay? And he says it was simply because he didn't tell the immigration officials why he was going to New Zealand. Why was he going to New Zealand, you may ask? Well, apparently he was going to sightsee and do a donation tour. Immigration officials heard of his plans and said, fuck no, we are not letting you into our country. Bye, Kyle, bye. Now, I fell further down into the Kyle Gordy rabbit hole. Try to say that 3 times fast. Now, I have to admit, yesterday I was doing a lot of things at home, cooking, watching a movie with my husband, spending his one day that he's home from work with him. And I didn't really fall deep down into the hole. I mean, watching a couple of videos was making my head spin, but I found some more today. He was on Ryan Seacrest's show about a year ago or so, talking about being a sperm donor. And to be honest, Ryan Seacrest and his co-hosts were all looking at him like, what in the actual fuck? Now, I found another video on YouTube, okay? All about Ryan. My aim is to have 1,000 children. World of weird, okay? This was 3 years ago. And watching this really made my skin crawl. I have to light a joint for this one. Okay, so basically, I'm going to give you guys the cliff notes. Kyle calls himself Kyle the Gigolo. Okay. He said one woman paid him $400 to jerk off in a cup. And that's when he said, hey, Kyle the Gigolo. Okay. And he wants to give his best services to these women because they really want to have a baby. Okay. So this is where he's talking about the natural conception. He'll push it harder, do it harder, and fill them up with sperm like a waterfall. His words, not mine, guys. Okay? So there are apparently a bunch of unregulated Facebook groups where women go and look for sperm donors instead of dealing with sperm banks, okay? Because dealing with sperm banks can be expensive. And, you know, conception is not guaranteed. So in this video, Kyle talks about that he has babies all across the US and wants to expand, okay? 100 kids, maybe even 1,000 kids. Kyle the Gigolo. Okay, so now this documentary, I guess you can say, focuses around Kyle, and he's going to naturally conceive with a woman who her boyfriend doesn't really know about this, okay? And you know, she kind of likes Kyle, and you know, she decided that this was the best way to go. Now, watching the interaction between Kyle and this woman that he's about to do natural conception with made my skin fucking crawl. Okay. He keeps talking about his 9-inch penis. First of all, did you know Kyle has a 9-inch penis? Unfortunately, I do now and you do. Okay. Um, the woman shows up, and the first thing he says to her was, "You must be tight." What in the actual fuck? Okay, dude, if this is all to you, a business, helping people, you know, you have a kind heart and you want to help women conceive, dude. Okay, and I'm going to put the link to all of these videos that I referred to in my description, so don't worry. Now, he enjoys natural conception more than artificial conception. Okay. And then he shows in this video the whole artificial conception thing, filling up syringes with sperm. I'm just like, oh my God. Okay. And he says he has a tendency of doing artificial insemination, quote, when he's not that into the person. Okay. Does his family like what the fuck he's doing? Hell no. And he feels like he's the black sheep of the family. Okay. So basically he enjoys the freedom of doing this, not being in a relationship. It just lets him, you know, be free. And how long was his longest relationship? 2 weeks. Okay. So now, listening to Kyle talk to this woman and talk in this documentary, I'm like, where did I hear this story before? Because he said in the beginning that he had 36 kids and like, I don't know how, oh, sorry, 31 kids, just had one yesterday, going to conceive tonight. There's a bunch of women pregnant. I'm like, does he tell everyone the same story over and over? Okay. And he says that he is more than happy to do testing. This was during his blind date thing that I talked about on my video yesterday, okay? Because genetic testing, check. Semen analysis, check. STD testing, check, according to Kyle. So I was like, where did I hear this story? He says to his blind date that he's actually donating tonight. There's a bunch of women pregnant. He has a bunch of kids, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I have to admit, because I fell down the ultimate rabbit hole and watched all these videos yesterday, that I did not completely watch this video, okay? The DIY sperm donor, like I covered it, you know, up to the point that I watched, but okay. First of all, it covers his artificial insemination. This woman is receiving artificial insemination from him. It shows how he does the whole process. Then they come in. It's her and her partner. She's going to inseminate her, and it just shows the whole thing. Okay. Now, it shows a fertility doctor talking about these women who go into these unregulated Facebook group seeking sperm donors are taking a significant risk, okay? Because most likely they're not doing the testing, the sperm donor hasn't done the testing, and it just puts them at a significant risk. So now we're introduced to Candace, okay? And she's 23, a single mother of 2, I believe she said, and she wants to have a 3rd child. She's going to be a single mother by choice. And she met Kyle in one of these Facebook groups, and she decided that he was the perfect donor match for her. Okay. And at the time that they met, he was asking if she was single, her sexual orientation, all that good stuff. Okay. Kyle explains that natural insemination is just regular sex. Okay. But obviously, it's more clinical. Now, watching the video before World of Weird, I Want 1,000 Kids, in my opinion, it didn't look like Kyle was taking this clinically, okay? I mean, turning to the woman and saying, wow, you must be tight. What sexual position do you want it in? And talking about his 9-inch penis, okay? And that didn't seem very clinical to me. So, he says it's not meant for fun, not meant for enjoyment. I'm like, okay. So now Candace, says basically the least she could do is natural insemination because he's coming all out here, and it's far for him. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, first of all, she's really, really young. Okay. She's only like 23. I know I'm kind of an old Karen boomer, but I can't help to look at her and say, you're really, really young. And secondly, when she said that she was going to do natural insemination with Kyle because, considering he's coming all the way out here, I don't know. In my opinion, it kind of like sounded like she was repeating something that someone had told her previously. But I don't know. I wasn't there. So Candace says she has all of the STD reports and the 23andMe reports. So she pretty much knows, the inside of the person that she's getting into. Okay. So now she shows up at the hotel and there's a 4-day period, okay, where she could be ovulating. Kyle says, welcome to your, castle for the next 4 days. We're going to be here and whatever. And the first thing is she looks at him and she's like, Kyle, you're short, which makes me think, does he lie to people about how tall he is? So they did the deed. Chantel, oh, I called her Candace. I'm so sorry. Her name is Chantel. Ooh, Chantel was pregnant, but she eventually miscarried. Okay. Now, this is where I regretted not watching all the way to the end of the video. Okay. Because Chantel speaks out at the end of the video and says that after her miscarriage, and she was thinking, it made her believe that Kyle's motives are not what he says they are. Okay. And basically they had a conversation where Kyle says that he loves going on these trips and loves doing these things because he loves to travel and it gets him laid. And I'm like, whoa, this doesn't sound very clinical to me. So Kyle maintains that it's just not about sex, as he rarely does natural insemination. While in the past 2 videos, he was doing natural insemination. He says only about 5% of the time it is natural. And while he does enjoy traveling to new places, he says it's essential to the insemination process, natural or artificial. Okay, now, like I said, I fell down the rabbit hole watching these videos and these women's experiences with Kyle Gordy. And all I have to say is it was very disturbing and I want to know more. Okay, so I'm doing my research and this woman, Jen, freely admits that she thought she was going to have a relationship with Kyle. She was at a point in her life that she wanted a child, but relationships weren't working out, and she would have really liked to have a long-term relationship that goes with a child, but she had made the decision that she was doing the sperm donor route because it wasn't working out that way. And she met Kyle, and things just kind of spiraled out of control. And it just all falls in to all the stuff that I was watching and the rabbit hole I was falling down into. So I did my video yesterday. I put it up, and guess what I woke up to this morning, guys? A DM, several messages from Kyle. So first of all, he sent me screenshots, which I had a feeling that he was going to send me screenshots from Jen to do damage control. Okay, so this was expected. It wasn't a surprise. You guys could pause to read these. So he sent me 3 screenshots from conversations between him and Jen. And then he says, you know, I'll ask my people for permission to interview, but I'd be open to a interview. Should note her video is old. I did note that her video was from a year ago, and I don't consider that old. So he goes on about Jen refusing to give up genetic testing. Should note the child is healthy. Okay, Kyle. Then he sends me some Google search, an article, not quite sure what it is, but he wants to educate me on genetic testing and recessive genes. And then he asks me whether I've had any genetic testing. And you know something, Kyle? I'm not the one that's donating my sperm. Okay? I have one child. I'm 50. I'm not having another child anytime soon. So no, I'm not getting genetic testing, but you as a sperm donor, in my opinion, I think you should, okay? And maybe not just a 23andMe genetic testing, since you have, I don't know how many kids now, just my opinion. So he sent along, you know, some more screenshots, and I'm like, okay, fine. So this is what I replied back to him. I was expecting some messages that you thought would discredit her. I watched both videos in the entirety, and to me, it was clear that Jen at one point thought she was in a relationship with you. So getting these from you are not surprising. So I replied back, if you like to interview with me, that's fine. So, and like I said, I replied to him. I said in my video that Jen's video was from a year ago. I wouldn't exactly consider that old. And I replied, I'm not the one donating sperm. Thank you. Anyway, so he decides to reply back to my replies with some word salad that made my head spin. But you know something? He is just trying to discredit Jen. And I would like to know if he is going to try to discredit Chantel as well. And I'm sorry, Kyle, but the rabbit hole that I fell down into, I should say, in my opinion, I think you're creepy as fuck. Okay? So, seeing him fill up syringes, talk about artificial and natural insemination, Kyle, in my opinion, like one of the women that you helped have a baby said herself. She said it herself in one of the videos that I watched, because at this point, everything is blending into one big video. She said that she believes that you are doing it for your ego. Every time you have a child, it's like, yes, I have another kid. Okay? And you know something? I agree with her. I think you're doing it for your ego and, in my opinion, for the sex. But hey, that's only my opinion. And the last time I checked, I'm allowed to have an opinion. Thank you so much for watching me, guys. Please subscribe if you don't already. Hit that like button and share my video with a friend or 10. See you next time. Bye, everybody.